Welcome to The Curious Leader, a podcast exploring the humble and human way of new leadership. Curious leadership, future skills farming, and new leadership all have one thing in common. It's a humble way with great impact. Creating a culture, creating your culture, means cultivating people, teams, and communication along with adapting frameworks and principles how to work together. The Curious Leaders podcast takes you on to meaningful conversations. My guests and I will reflect and exchange on new leadership, the importance of trust, courage, and curiosity, on future skills farming as well, such as developing the art of listening and how to create a culture for creativity and innovation, how to deal with conflict, with misunderstandings, with different human needs. My name is Carola Zakotnik. I'm a keynote speaker, facilitator, coach, trainer, and also author and performing artist. I work with leaders of all areas to improve their impact, supporting them in creating new cultures and new leadership styles. And you can find more on Curious Leadership and myself on carolazakotnik.com. Now let's start with today's guest, John Ireland. He's a consultant, trainer, and coach. Works with leaders of all areas. He's originally English. And together we do some work on attitude. He, as an organizational psychologist coming from psychological aspects, what attitude does to us, how important it is to have a mindfulness practice in everyday leadership. And my part there, coming from the performing arts, is how to express emotions physically with your body and which kind of impact that has. But now let's welcome John. And let's talk to John what he says about curious leadership. Leadership is something you need to cultivate. Same with wine. And we're back. The next part is about confidence and the connection between confidence, being confident, culture, and leadership. John Ireland and Carola Zakotnik. What is confidence for you, and which role does it play in successful leadership, or let's also not only focus on leadership, but this thing about creativity, culture, and leadership. I think those three are very closely linked. And confidence, what role does it play? How would you describe it also?
I think it's, for individuals, it's lovely, I work with so many people, and they just say, I'd like to be more confident. And if I ask them, what do you do for your confidence? Then they usually look at what went wrong, right? And a lovely little story. Many years ago, it was on an international leadership program, 5 or 6 modules over a couple of years, and one of the delegates came. Well, there were actually 14 delegates, and in the introduction, 11 of them said, "I'd like to be more confident." One of the women on the course, after the program, actually got confidence tattooed on her wrist to remind her of the fact that she'd become so much more confident. I think confidence is being aware of what I can and can't do and accepting it. Nobody can do everything. I think for me, confident, and if I know what I can and can't do, then I can focus on what I'm good at. It motivates me. I get a buzz out of it. I get fulfillment out of it. Why try doing things we can't do? So find somebody that can do what I can't do, right? But I think it's about this mentality or this approach to myself, again, of really reflecting and being aware of what I actually have. And it's realizing that I have a wealth of experience. And this can be within business, out of business. It can be from my childhood, it can be from school, but I'm really aware of, the progress I've made and what I've done. And I think that another aspect of this confidence of knowing it is my experience is the more confidence people have, the more humble they are, right? And people often associate confidence for me as with arrogance, but arrogance is a form of insecurity. There's a saying in the north of England where I come from is, if you know you're good, you don't have to prove it, right? And I think there's a lot in that, right? And so it's being aware of what I can do, being aware of what my contribution is, accepting and being able to say to myself, I'm really excellent there. Yeah? And often people find that embarrassing. Or, you say to people, gosh, you're really brilliant at that, it's fantastic. And the ability to take it on. But other people are brilliant at other things. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So it's, again, it's an inner awareness of what I can, what I can't do, a belief in that as well. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, in German, there's one this confidence, which is kind of a Bewusstsein or a Selbstbewusstsein, we would say. And I use a lot the word Zuversicht, which is a very positive connotation that I trust in success, I would call it. Do you have a word for that? Because when I, in my book, I'm writing, it is confidence, but it's this positive, this Zuversicht, to believe unconditionally, but not naive in success. That this, what I'm doing, will be successful or will complete it positively. Do I have a word for that?
I've got 2 words, easy. Back yourself.
It's Zuversicht, back yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the same word, but that's what for me it's about. I don't think there's always this one-to-one translation.
No, yeah,
but it's, it's back yourself, trust yourself.
Yeah. Because the Zuversicht is not about yourself, actually. It's just about sending positive vibes or living positive vibes for an outcome. Just knowing then consequently that you can trust yourself, that you will do the best to make this happen.
Yeah. I mean, you can trust yourself, but you may not be the right person for the job, right? And this is where, for me, confidence comes into this. Really, we're having and working hard so that I'm, the best person for the job. I mean, my passion in sport is rugby, and you take the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby team, and they talk about earning the jersey, right? So, at that moment in time, I'm the best person to pull on this jersey. But they also have a culture where people say, you're better than me.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't mean to say that I can't work harder and next time I'll be the person wearing that jersey, right? But there's a lovely mentality within that of self-reflection and awareness that I'm really good for it, So this is where I come to trust yourself, back yourself. I had a lovely situation with somebody who was doing a really, really big presentation, and it was just about, you've got what you need, back yourself, trust yourself, and to realise, not just a cognitive one, but you feel it physically, and you think, excuse my language, shit, yeah, I've done this 100 times, I know it inside and out, and I can do it.
And we keep on giving you some brain food here, John Ireland and Kabbalah Zakotnik. How are you dealing with your inner critic? Let's listen what John says.
The physiology of it is, or the brain, you've always got the inner critic, the risk voice. And I think when we talk about confidence, it's also bringing in the value of talking about, the role of the inner critic, because I think that sadly we listen too much to this voice. We're in control of it. I mean, the voice is there to protect us and to make sure that we're safe. Don't do that. To get us to avoid something. And that's just one side of it. And it's there as a voice which helps us maybe assess. We don't go into things too quickly as a result of the voice that makes us just sort of stop and check and think, have I thought of everything? But on the other side of it, there's the voices around the confidence, but saying, gosh, you've done this 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
You've trained so hard for this. You've practiced so hard for it. You can do it, right? So I think it's this awareness, and a true inner awareness of where I'm good and what I can do.
And in a culture where confidence is welcome and confidence can be developed and cultivated and so on, does trust play a crucial role for you?
Yeah, I really, really love in English we say growing confidence, right? And I think this is, in the use of words, I think is beautiful, because as a child, what do we do to help kids grow confidence? And confidence is like a small tree, and with some encouragement, with some experiences, with some good reflected feedback, and then, confidence can grow. So I really, really like, this term of growing confidence. And I think at different phases in life, what's there, who's there to help you grow that. And then at some point is where you take over the job of the gardener, and you're taking care of your own confidence.
Yeah. This is all, like you describe it, is exactly what I say when I talk about future skills that need to be farmed, that need to be grown, that need to be cultivated, watered. They need some food, and it has to be the appropriate food for this plant, for this kind of growing. And then something comes out that is trust, and that can then help ferment or harvest or whatsoever, But it's a nice picture, this farming, because it's what you're describing is exactly what I also say. It's not done in one day. This is not you have it today and then you know it forever. No, you make it, you grow it every day, and you cure it and you cultivate it every day more and more and more. Yeah,
and I think you're growing your confidence, and you are. You're walking back to the fields, i.e. your experiences, and if you need to, when you need to, is to check in and to realise that they're there. Yeah.
And it does not go bigger and bigger and bigger. It just goes on and on and on. It's more a circular thing. And it gets more stable, yes. The next question is listening, about listening. How important is it to be a good listener? This all leads to my fourth question, which for me is becoming more and more important, is listening. Like the importance of listening for an organization who invites future skills. And future skills is a nice, I call it marketing word. It's something we have always had, but the only way, it's a way that will bring us to prosperous future that could not only creates the outcome of this year, but thinks a bit further and thinks about also how do we always create also something, a product, a service, whatsoever, that also has an impact on a world worth living. I think listening has quite a big importance. How would you rate that, the listening part, the importance of that?
It's simple, yeah. I mean, basically when you're listening, you're leaving yourself and moving to the person that's sitting opposite from you, right? And if you don't listen, again, it'd be very provocative. If you don't listen, there's an arrogance that you have all the solutions, right? Which is the most impossible thing in the world. What the purpose of listening is to activate and and use the ideas and experiences of others. It's about being identified, identified for me with the purpose than, looking for qualification of my own ego. I think with listening, it's about, in this day and age, the value of difference and diversity. There's a lovely book which I really like, is called Rebel Ideas. I've forgotten the author. He's a brilliant journalist. He's a really good Rebel Ideas. And, he talks about the power of diversity. And I was listening to a radio program, and MI5 now are employing people with autism to look at information because they have a different perspective on things, right? And that's a form of listening. It's valuing that other people have got different perspectives. And if we listen and we gather those perspectives, then, we can develop something which will help us get to where we want to get to. It's the easiest thing in the world. But again, in the biography of it, and for me, I associate this with confidence.
Have you ever reflected how confident you are with yourself? And are you having your back? Well, some moments of music to reflect on that.
Qui dove il mare luccica e tira forte il vento, su una vecchia terrazza davanti al golfo di Sorrento, un uomo abbraccia una ragazza dopo che aveva pianto, poi si schiarisce la voce e ricomincia il canto. Tanto, tanto bene, sai, è una catena ormai che scioglie il sangue dentro bene, sai. Vide le luci in mezzo al mare, pensò alle notti là in America, ma erano solo le lampare e la bianca scia di un'elica. Sentì il dolore della musica che si alzò dal pianoforte, ma quando vide uscire la luna da una nuvola lì sembrò più dolce anche la morte. Negli occhi della ragazza, quegli occhi verdi come il mare. Poi all'improvviso uscì una lacrima e lui credette di affogare. Ti voglio bene assai, ma tanto, tanto scioglie il sangue dentro bene, sai. Potenza della lirica dove ogni dramma è un falso, che con un po' di trucco e la mimica puoi diventare un altro. Ma due occhi che ti guardano così vicini e veri ti fanno scordare le parole, confondono i pensieri. Così diventa tutto piccolo, anche le noti là in America. Ti volti e vedi la tua vita come la scia di un'elica. Ma sì, è la vita che finisce, ma lui non ci pensò poi tanto. Anzi, si sentiva già felice e ricominciò il suo canto.
And that was it for today. Hope to see you next week. Hope to hear you next week. We will again have John going on a little bit further what he thinks on curious leadership. Please think of subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. You can do that on carolasakotnik.com or of course on any of your favorite platforms for podcasts. Hear you next week. Yours, Carola.